So yesterday was the last day of the month, and I don't know if y'all remember, but my option contract was until the end of last month. And to get they had me sign some piece of paper that was saying that I would have my financing done by the end of October. And yesterday we were going over the paperwork again, and we were negotiating the contract. And I guess with the blind fury that was the October 31st yesterday, but actually I completely forgot to but both parties forgot to ask anything about the proof of financing or not, and so yesterday I actually got the option contract extended, and I didn't show any proof of financing. And so I got the option contract extended until the end of this month, and then I also have to get it extended one more time until the end of December. That is the agreement right now. And so and I have to pay the 10 grand total. And so I said that's fine. I'm paying 5 grand this month, and I'm paying 5 grand next month, and that's fine. When I take a look at my cattle, and I sold cattle last week, I got that money coming in. I can pay the 5 grand. It's not a big deal. That's the easy part, right? That's the easy part. But yesterday, I guess in the chaos of the last day, I completely forgot to ask about it, and they completely forgot to ask about it. But I got the option contract extended, and I didn't show any proof of financing. And so yesterday, but I got a lot of things done yesterday. I got in contact with my mortgage company, and my mortgage company did confirm that it was their fault. They had something written up wrong on their part, and so I did confirm that they are going to send money to the property tax people for me. And so in their words, more or less, they told me not to worry about anything. They said they got the problem fixed. They had some kind of a misdocumentation on the property tax side of things, and so I don't have to worry about anything, is what they said. They said and so they're going to start sending money over for my property taxes, and they're going to cover the whole thing. And so I don't have to worry about my property taxes, because that was originally what I had been thinking. And if you want just my honest what I thought, like when I was getting mail when I was getting mail about property taxes, I thought it was a scam. Because I was like, why would they be sending me paperwork about my property taxes when I am paying my property taxes via my mortgage? And so I thought it was a scam, and so I threw it all in the trash, and then I got sued. And so I called my mortgage company, and I told them what happened. I thought it was a scam, because aren't y'all paying my property taxes? And they said, yes, we are paying your property taxes. And I said, well, I got sued over my property taxes. And they said, well, take a look at it. They took a look at it, and they realized that they had some kind of error in their documentation. And so I talked to them about it yesterday, and they said that, yeah, they are going to pay for the whole bill. And so I don't have to worry about the property taxes. My mortgage company is going to take care of that. Yesterday, as I was negotiating the deal with the buyer, or excuse me, with the seller, I guess we just completely forgot to bring up even I completely forgot to bring up anything about it. And I thought about it afterwards. After I got the option contract extended, I was sitting there thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? I didn't even show them proof of financing yet. And so that was the whole thing, is that they wanted proof of financing by the end of October. And and they had me sign some piece of paper, and I was like, why? Because I've already said, I need until the end of December to get everything done and everything lined up. And so yesterday, as we were negotiating the contract, I guess we just both of us completely forgot about that part, and we just extended the option contract. And so I effectively have until the end of December. Granted that I pay my portion of the option contract, which I can do. It's not a big deal. If I sell, I've been taking a look at my animals, 1, 2, 3. I've got 4 or 5 in there that are ready to go to market here by the end of the month. And if I sell them, I can cover the cost of the option contract, and I can also probably pay to get a well drilled as well. And so everything's going. Everything is. I don't want to give myself bad luck. And I was talking about this, but in terms of in reality, I'm actually doing way better than I ever anticipated. Okay, I did not know that things were going to go this good. I did not even consider things were going to go this well, and things are going way better than I ever anticipated. And so I would, when I take a look at everything that's going on, I would say that by about April of next year, I'm going to have about 120 to about 150 cattle. And so, right now everything, things are going way better than I ever anticipated. Yesterday, while I was, working on my contract, I even got my tax filings for my 2023. I got my tax filings printed out, and so I'm gonna show, I can take my paperwork to different banks, and I can just show them my paperwork, and I can say, what kind of loan can you give me, right? And I've always said that if you want to figure out what what the bank is going to give you, the way you do it is you just go and ask them. You ask them, and if something happens, and they're like, oh, well, we would give you the loan if you did this, then you just go and do it, right? I mean, raise your credit, lower your debt, whatever it is, or we'll just give you the loan right now, or raise your income, whatever it is, right? I mean, whatever it is, if you want to figure out what the bank is going to give you, the way you do it is you just go and ask them. And so, I got my tax paperwork printed out, and I'm gonna go and I can just take that with me. And I got it saved on my computer too, so it's real easy for me to print it out. And I can go and print it out whenever I need it, and then I can just go around and show it to the different banks. And so, the big idea right now is that I'm just gonna go around, and because I have until the end of December, right? I got myself the extra option contract. The money, I've already figured it out. I've got myself extra time on the option contract, and so I'm gonna go and see what the different banks will give me, right? I also need working capital. I was talking about this, but and I was actually talking about this the other day, and I've been looking to go 100% leverage for my cattle, right? I've been looking to go 100% leverage for my cattle, because if I go 100% leverage for my cattle and I just hold on to the cash, then it just makes my finances work out better. I'm not in like a crunch to sell all my animals to cover my my debts, and so to open up new credit, I'm not in a crunch to do that. And so I want to go 100% leverage for my cattle, and the way that I'm gonna do it is by what, right? I've already I was talking about this in pretty thorough detail, but I'm gonna hold my business as collateral for a business line of credit, right? I'm gonna utilize the earnings of my business to get myself a business line of credit. I have an LLC, and I'm going to use that business line of credit to purchase cattle. Why would I do that? Because if I do that, then my assets that I purchase with that business line of credit are tied to my LLC. All right, and if it's tied to my LLC, then I get legal protection. All right, even if a worst case scenario, for whatever reason, I lose the next 250 cattle that I touch, I legitimately lose 100% of my cattle. And I was talking about this, but I'm more realistically gonna get hit by lightning twice than lose 250 cattle in a row. Okay, I mean it's like a non-factor. All right, and I've talked about my business plan in its entirety, right? Why did I make my business plan the way that I did? Why am I looking to buy into the cattle market every 2 weeks? Why am I not looking to go into the cattle market all at once? Why do I buy into the cattle market every 2 weeks? Why do I do that? The overall commodity markets, what does the corn market look like? What does the cattle market look like in terms of relation? The cattle market is effectively set to make money, because the corn market is so low, the grain market is so low. And I've talked about all of these things, in terms of money, what kind of money am I going to utilize to purchase what assets? When I'm talking about land, how do I go into purchase land? How do I present deals to the bankers? I talk about all of these things, right? And, well, I mean, in terms of a broader reality, and it's like, if we look at the U.S. economy, in terms of a broader reality, I made it to the top 0.00001 percentile of the entire U.S. economy in the year 2024, and I did it by starting my own cattle business on a 10.5 acre farm. All right, I mean, even in terms of just anything else, when you look at it in terms of I actually managed to do it by doing this, I mean, it's almost ridiculous. You're probably not ever going to get to see this again. Most people, I mean, if you're watching my channel, you probably don't even understand that most people don't even get to the 10% mark. A vast majority of people do not even get to the 10% mark. And I talk about this in great detail, but one of the most important things that you will ever do is to practice. You're going to have to practice every day. And you're going to have to practice probably 15 hours a day. And farming is not something that you can figure out with money. Money does not make a difference in farming, all right? I mean, the $1,000 a month that it costs me to run my business to make 70 grand is not going to be what stops anybody. The $2,500 a month that it costs me to make, 150 grand a year, the $2,500 a month is irrelevant money. All right, the money is irrelevant. You're going to hear me say this all the time, but in terms of reality, money is always the easy part. Like if you're sitting there going, "Oh my God, I don't have the money. I don't have $1,000. I can't run 50 cattle. I can't run 125 cattle a year because I don't have $1,000." Trust me, the $1,000 is the least of your problems. All right, I can almost guarantee it. Running cattle is going to be the hardest thing that you have ever done in your entire life. I don't even know anybody that's even gotten to the 10% mark. And if you legitimately think that you're going to do this and you're not even at the 1% mark, if you legitimately think you're going to do this and you're not even at the 1% mark, I'm telling you, you're probably an idiot. You are probably an idiot. I mean, because it's like, you're legitimately watching maybe the best cattle farmer on the entire planet. You're legitimately watching the best cattle farmer on the entire planet, thinking that you're going to become a cattle farmer like this. It's not going to happen. I would bet you 50 to 1. All right, none of you are going to make it. Most of you probably not even going to get to the 10% mark your entire life. All right, I mean, you're legitimately going to have to start working 15 hours a day for the next 15 years of your life. If you don't believe me, then prove me wrong. Go and do it. All right, I mean, then go and do it. All right, have fun. See what, just go and see for yourself. All right, and so, but I got a lot of things figured out yesterday. The property taxes, I got that squared away. My income forms, in terms of my tax forms, I got that all printed out. I got myself a 2-month extension on my option contract, and I didn't have to show any proof of financing. I'm going to take my paperwork around to the different banks and see if they'll give me money. I'm looking for them to, in reality, I'm just going to go around and I'm going to get the best deal that I can get. I'm going to really work on getting the best deal that I can get between now and the end of December. And from my understanding in terms of the business world, the end of the year is always the best time to get loans. So that's from my understanding. That's what I understand. And so, between now and the end of the year, I'm going to look to get my loan. And, and I've actually had bankers calling me. And so if that means anything, but I've actually had bankers calling me, asking me if I need loans. And they'll actually call me on my phone and ask me if I need loans. And so I'm pretty sure, the banks really want to give loans out right now. It's the end of the year. They want to give out loans. And I've actually had bankers calling me on my cell phone, asking me if I need loans. They're, do you want to come into our office and talk to our whatever, about getting a loan? Do you need any money? Banks will actually call me. All right. And so, and I got everything going. And things are going way better than I ever anticipated. In terms of a broader look at my business plan, if you don't understand money, then look at it in terms of cattle. I have 32 cattle right now, and if I sell these 32 animals, I'll probably make enough money to buy about 60 or 65 animals. I got 2 animals with a real bad eye. I got 1 animal with a bad eye. So, effectively those 3 animals are, I'm going to get a couple of $100 deducted on each one of them. And so, but at the end of the day, I'll probably still, if I sell my animals at $650, I'll still make enough money. If I sell them at $750, I'll still make enough money to buy about 65 animals. And if I make enough money to buy 65 animals at the end of the year, if I want to take a loan, if I want to reduce my income taxes to as low as I can, then I'm going to have to take that money that I made in the cattle. I made enough money to buy 65 cattle. I'll have to take a loan to purchase 65 cattle, because at the end of the year, when the year is over, I can only deduct half the cost of the cattle for the next year, right? I've talked about this, and I'm going to talk to my accountant about it to make sure it's correct. But from my understanding, if you buy cattle in the year 2024 and you want to deduct them on your taxes, and you're holding on to them throughout, even after you filed your taxes, you want to hold on to them, you can only deduct half the cost. You can only deduct half the cost. And so if I talk about it in terms of cattle, if I don't talk about it in terms of money, if I talk about it in terms of cattle, if I made enough money to buy 65 cattle, and by next year I'm still holding on to those 65 cattle, and 65 cattle, let's just say it's worth whatever, right? Whatever, right? I mean, whatever, 40 grand. You know, I made 40 grand, and so I want to take that money, and I want to deduct it to zero. I want to take my income tax burdens to zero. Then I will have to invest another 40 grand. And if I have 130 cattle, and the big idea for me is, like, you know, I'm gonna sell the animals, buy new animals. You know, for me to do this, I'm effectively gonna have to get my animals to a market average weight of 650. You know, with these animals that I'm looking at right now, you know, these animals are effectively beef animals, number 1 to 1.5 type, medium large frame. I'm gonna have to get these animals to a body conditioning score about 6 and to a market weight of about 650. And if I do that, then I will effectively make enough money to essentially buy 2 animals anytime that I sell one. And so, and if I do that, then, et cetera, then, within about 4 months, I would say a majority of these animals are going to be 650, and the tax year is over in April. And so if in 4 months, well, maybe 3 months or so, but, I'm going to bring in the new animals. I'm going to make sure they're doing okay. And if they're doing okay and they're all doing okay, then and it's time to pay taxes. It's time to get my taxes all filed and everything. And and my animals are doing okay. Then I'm going to take a loan against the appraisal value of my animals to reduce my income tax burdens while also growing my asset portfolio. And if you think about it in terms of a cattle, it's like I make enough money to buy 2 cattle every time I sell one effectively. But at the end of the day, I also have expenses on the animals, right? I gotta take them to the doctor, and I gotta give them food, etc., etc. So in reality, I'm only really making, on paper, or, in theory, it's a 100%, but in reality, it's a 70% return on my money. And so it's like, and it's like I compound my growth 70% every 9 months. And then at the end of the year, I also need to take a loan against the appraisal value, the net positive appraisal value of my herd, to reduce my income tax burdens. Because if I sit around and if I just pay income taxes, it's going to be like 50%. All right, my tax bracket for me at the money that I make, it's effectively 50%. All right, it's like if I make $1, I have to send 50 cents to the government unless I invest it. And I've talked about taxes in the perspectives of a rich person. Taxes do not exist to punish rich people. A lot of poor people get this misunderstood. All right, if you're poor, you probably misunderstand taxes. Taxes do not exist to punish rich people. Taxes exist to only punish rich people if they do not reinvest their earnings. That's the only time. All right, so it's an incentive to reinvest your money. That's what taxes are. It's like, it's encouraging rich people to reinvest their money. And because if you're rich and you reinvest your money, then you don't have to pay income tax. All right, you get a tax write-off. And so, but that's effectively what's going to happen. In terms of just my cattle, I net positive appreciate my animals about 70% every about 9 months. And at the end of the year, I'm going to have to take a look at my tax burdens. And then I'm going to have to take, I'm not going to have to, but it would be in my best, because here's the thing. It's like, if I'm going to lose half of my money anyway, then I might as well just risk it for the biscuit, right? I mean, let's just think about it. It's like, no matter what, you're going to have to send half of your money to the government unless you do something like you invest into your business. Then I might as well just invest into my business, right? I mean, think about it. All right, it's like, I'm going to lose the money anyway. I might as well just risk it, because if I was going to lose half of my money anyway, I mean, I would have to lose like 80% of my animals. That's legitimately, because it's like, imagine that I bought 10 animals and I only had 2 left. Well, those 10 animals that I purchased them at 200 pounds. I purchased them at the benchmark, right? I purchased them at 200 pounds. And if I purchase them at 200 pounds and I raise them to 800 pounds, if I raise them to 1,000 pounds on grass, it's practically free, right? And then I will still, make more, and it's like I would still lose less money if I lost 80% of my animals. All right, taxes are like 50%. You're gonna have to pay half your money. I pay about half of my money in taxes, about half. All right, and so and unless I invest it, and if I purchase tax deductible assets, then I can reduce my income tax burdens. And so it's like, if I'm in a situation where I have to send half of the money that I made to the government, then I'm just gonna go and buy cattle. All right, I'm just gonna go and buy cattle. It's not, it's like, if I'm gonna lose the money anyway, then I might as well just buy cattle. All right, because for me to lose that much money running cattle, I would have to lose like 75% of my animals. All right, because it's like, if I bought 10 animals and I had 3 left, and those 10 animals, I purchased them at 200 pounds, and the 3 animals that I had left, I raised them to 1,000 pounds on grass, practically free, and then I sold them. Those 3 animals would effectively make enough money for me to purchase like 8 animals. All right, and so it's not, I might as well just take the money and invest it into cattle. I might as well just take a loan for the cattle. If I'm gonna lose the money anyway, I might as well just risk it. All right, and that's my perspective. That's how I see things. It's like, last year, if I'm gonna talk about my actual numbers, last year I had to pay like $34,000 in taxes, and I was able to reduce that to about $5 grand. That is realistically my numbers. That is what my numbers actually looked like. If I did not run this business, I would have had to pay, I wouldn't have had to pay 34 grand because my tax bill was so high because I made so much money running cattle, right? And so, but if I did not do what I did, I would have had to pay $34,000 in taxes to the government. And I was able to reduce that to about $4,800, about $5 grand, by just purchasing assets, tax deductible assets, okay? And so those are my actual numbers, all right? And I was talking about this yesterday, but I'm not dodging taxes, all right? I'm not dodging taxes. This is something that you can do this, if you're in America and you're an American citizen, you can do this as well. It's not just for me. All right, and I've talked about this in terms of a broader idea. Should you be starting, oh my God, I want to start a business so that I can reduce my income tax burdens? That is a horrible idea, okay? You should not be getting into a business and purchasing tax deductible assets so that you can just reduce your income tax burdens, because you're going to lose all your money. The only time I would ever suggest that anybody ever start a business is if they can make a lot of money. If you can make a lot of money, then start a business. If you can't make a lot of money, then don't start a business. Starting a business is going to be the worst idea you've ever had in your entire life. Legitimately, you could be in a situation where you're practically a bum for your entire life. You're borderline homeless your entire life, and then at 70 you end up not having a retirement, and then now you have to work as a grocery store cashier. All right, it might happen. It legitimately could happen. And starting a business, the idea of starting a business might be the worst idea you've ever had. Starting a business might be the worst thing you have ever done. Legitimately. All right, in reality, you should probably just go and get a job. Get a good job, right? Go and get a good job. Go and get a job that pays you a lot of money, has good retirement, whatever, right? The only reason that anybody, it's like, oh my God, well, I had this magnificent dream, and the world is Disneyland, and I want to go on a mystical, magical adventure, and if I do this thing and I throw a Hail Mary into the middle of nowhere, and I go go with my buddy pow pows, and we go skipping off into the sunset singing Kumbaya, then it's gonna work out in a mystical, magical fashion for me. That's not a good idea to start a business. All right, if that's that's effectively what most of these businesses sound like. All right, it's not a la land adventure. Starting a business might be the worst thing you have ever done. It might be the worst idea you've ever had. You could legitimately end up in a situation where you're borderline homeless. You're practically a beggar bum until you're 70 years old, and then now you can't retire. The economy's inflated 25%, 50%. Congratulations. All right, and now you're screwed. All right, and so you're probably better off just going and getting a job, getting a good paying job. Look for the best paying job that you can find, and then invest your money. All right, invest your money. Go and do something like purchase a piece of rental property. All right, something like that. And if you really for whatever reason you actually want to run a business, then go and buy one. All right, you can buy businesses. I've already talked about the equitable value of a business. How do you find a business? How do you purchase a business? I've already talked about all of these things too, right? You then go and buy one, and make sure you're actually checking everything 5,000 times, right? All right, because if the business already exists and the numbers will already exist, and you can just check everything 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 times. All right, and then you can just go and purchase the business. All right, you know, but rental property, very, very, very realistic option for most people. You know, something like that. All right, you know, but that's it for me today, YouTube. Y'all have a good one.